I'd like to call the regular school board meeting of the Forest Lake Area School Board to session. It is 7 p.m. on December 1st, 2022. With that, let's stand and do the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call of attendance, please.
All right, Member Ketto.
Here.
Member Landstrom.
Here.
Member Rayfield.
Here.
Member Tyson is here. Member Peterson is absent. Member Luther. Here. And Member Corcoran. Here.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, approve the meeting agenda. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the meeting agenda? So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? With that, we'll take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. We have the meeting agenda approved. Next, we have scheduled and unscheduled visitors, and we have tonight, I'd like to introduce Principal Ernest.
I got 80 green cards.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Green cards, thanks for the reminder. If anybody would like to make a comment or has a question for the board, you can fill out a green card. We'll take a couple of minutes. Okay. Would anybody like a green card? Comment or question for the board? No. Okay. With that, I'll introduce
Mr. Caldwell. Ms. Jim first.
Mr. Principal Caldwell.
Jim Works. Board member Kendall, Dr. Massey, and the rest of the board, always a privilege to be here. Last month, I heard that you heard from some of our other student groups. I was at the volleyball, I believe, section championship. But it's always an honor to be able to bring our student group. Tonight, I have our Black Student Union, who is run by Miss Jenny O'Donnell. I will have her come up and introduce the rest of this group. This group really drives a lot of the things we do in our school for equity and other awareness activities. I don't want to steal their thunder, because I know they have a PowerPoint they work really hard on, and you're going to be impressed. Mrs. O'Donnell.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jenny O'Donnell, and I get to work with these lovely kids. And they are, I'm going to do the Wasps first. Kathleen, Goom, and Aza Owasam. And then we've got Natia Johnson and Haley Yuba, and they're going to present.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Lawson. This is my fourth year being at BSU. I'm the president this year as a senior. And I'm also part of National Honor Society, Youth Service Club, and Volleyball Club.
Hi, I'm Haley. I'm a junior. It's my third year at DSU. I'm also on student council, the executive board, and in Youth Service Club.
Hi, my name is Drew Watson, and I'm also part of the city. This is my third year too. And I am in student council, Youth Service Club, youth executive board, volleyball, and NHS.
I am Natia Johnson, and I'm a sophomore. This is my second year of Black Student Union / Latinx. And our club is at 90% Owassans. We do have other members. They just couldn't make it due to transportation and jobs.
Hi, my name is Aza Watson. I'm a freshman. This is my first year at BSU. And I'm part of the soccer team. Our mission statement, our goal is to promote and educate equity and racial justice for students of color in a predominantly white school. We want to create a place where everyone can feel like they belong in the school.
And then what we do in BSU is we incorporate Black history year round. We talk about like recent events that happen and things that we can go like, to visit, like historical sites and stuff. We also share our experiences in school, like things we face and like issues that we have, like so if a situation happens, like we come to resolve the Zoom, we can tell her because resolved. And we support and encourage each other. We also confront and document issues and occurrences of racism and hate speech in our school with assistance of certain staff members, usually Ms. O'Donnell. annual Black History Month showcase, and this will be as new for the
This is a poster for our BIPOC group we have, like Mr. Gary Sacco, bi-weekly, and it's a inclusive group for Black and Indigenous people of color and students in our school, where everyone's welcome. We just have talks, kind of like what we would do as a group, but Mr. Sacco. And our annual Black History Month showcase this year will be on February 9th at 6 p.m. at the high school auditorium, and I would love if you all will come. If you guys gonna come? Yes. We'd love to have you. Any questions for us?
Question.
Yes.
So Kathleen, what grade are you in?
I'm a senior.
Oh my gosh, you probably don't remember me,
I
but.
do.
Oh, you B, C, F, E, when your mom would bring you to class. Makes me feel so old.
I was like, she looks so familiar.
Yeah, you were like,
You're so little.
wow, how exciting to be a senior. And thank you to all of you for your involvement with this. I loved Black History Month. Last year I went. And the Black Affinity Club hosted something too that I went to. It was excellent. When you have the BIPOC meetings, is that on the school grounds and after
Yeah,
school?
it's in a normal room, so.
Oh, okay. And how many students are typically come to that?
Well, we usually the same amount of people that come to the regular meetings, like 25.
It's definitely got bigger for the past
And we're still just trying to get more people to come, so it's slowly growing.
Right, and thank you for all your efforts to bring people into that and to make the group larger and find more community and build those friendships and all that. Really appreciate all the work. And thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Any other questions, Rob?
Yeah, so a question I would have is like, let's say a student, BIPOC student comes into our district, you know, it's a tough time, right? They're moving from another district to here. How do you figure out a way to talk to that student and help them or her kind of get into our
Honestly,
district?
we're all pretty like outgoing and nice, so we just go up to them, we can talk to them, we invite them to the group, and we let them know that there's no commitment, you know, you don't have to come, but it is a great place to know that you're welcome and to have people that understand where you're coming from. So we definitely like to include people and invite them to the meetings.
And I also want to say, like, me and Julie, I know we're part of the group that, like, we introduce, like, new students to the school. Like, Storky, I think, I don't know if all teams run it, and, like, Storky is, like, just after it. So, like, anytime there's new students, you'll, you know, send an email to us, and then you'll, like, describe them, and then, like, if they're, like, you'll see them, usually, like, so, show them the classes.
Thank you.
You kind of half answered my question already, because I was primarily, do you feel like you have a good communication stream with the administration? So you can ask them questions and they can ask you, you know, it sounds like they can say, oh, there's a person we'd like you to show around. But do you feel like you have good communication with administration and getting what you need?
I feel like it's mostly compliment.
He is a one-man band.
You gotta skip everybody else that goes straight to
Here's, now, I don't want to jump in and answer for you, but I will tell you, these guys do a phenomenal job of knowing when is it something that I need to go to a teacher, when is it something that I need to go to a dean, and there are times when they'll walk right into my office and say, look, we need to talk to you. And they know that our doors are open, and we're gonna listen. They might not always like the answer they get, but we're always gonna listen and try to figure it out.
And that's fantastic, having that access, and then, like Mr. Caldwell said, knowing where to direct it is a really great life skill too, so that's important for everything.
Yeah, they don't hesitate to show me.
Well, I just wanted to comment, what a great, very high-achieving group of young ladies you are. It's really great to hear all your involvement, your scholastic, not only that, but academic and athletics. I mean, that is really impressive. So I just wonder how many Wasson sisters there are. That was my question.
Just
Just the three. That was right, there's a younger one coming up after you. So do you guys have a lot of involvement with the middle school? I mean, is that kind of something that,
our brother's in middle school.
okay.
We're not really sure. We try to invite the middle schoolers to come to our meetings if they want to, but it's kind of hard because they don't have rides and it's.
Well, do you guys ever go over to there? I mean, is there kind of a, or you're kind
There's a
of?
similar middle school.
I know Carrie runs a middle school group.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's wonderful. Okay, well, I'm just glad to see the numbers. That's impressive and it keeps growing. And yeah, but just thank you for coming and just best of luck with your group and best of luck next year, whatever you choose to do.
One more thing. Could the seniors tell us what you're up to in the upcoming year?
Well, I applied to 5 different universities and I'm kind of majoring in civil engineering. So.
Wow.
And I'm just waiting on response from Howard right now. That's where I want to go.
For what?
Howard University in Washington for civil engineering.
Engineering? Yeah.
Yes, is anyone else a senior? No?
Two juniors, one sophomore, and one freshman here today.
Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah.
Next up on the agenda.
I know, I already wrote it down.
I went last year. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Next up, we have Forest View Elementary Principal, Mr. Ernest. Drum roll. Introduce us.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us. It's exciting to be here. Thanks to everybody that's here in the crowd as well. I don't know if it was last week or a couple weeks ago, we had an awesome 3rd grade concert, and we are very fortunate to have Anna Holgan as our music teacher. And it just so happened a long time ago when I first started at Linwood or at Forest View, we had an opening for a music teacher, and there was this amazing applicant that lived in Forest Lake, and she was driving 45, 50 minutes a day one way to get to her music job. Yeah. So it was just magical how that all worked out, and we've been very fortunate to have Mrs. Hogan. All of our students get music twice a week, and they're so lucky. You can walk by that room and the kids are singing or they're dancing, and we're just very lucky to have her. So I thought it would be kind of cool to bring a group of our 3rd graders. I want to thank the parents for bringing them out tonight to just have a few songs, and but I want them to introduce themselves before we get going, and then I'll turn it over to Mrs. Hogan. But let's start right here. You guys want to tell everybody who you are?
I'm Dominic. I'm Hunter. I'm Zoe. I'm Isabella. I'm Lacey. I'm Elise. I'm Sophia. I'm Kira. I'm Debbie. I'm Jaylee. I'm Madeline. I'm Rosalia.
Nice job.
Who's that right behind you? No, right down there with the hat.
This little dude?
Yeah.
Aaron? This is Aaron.
Little brother. He's got his hat though, he's ready.
Yeah, he's ready to go.
The 3rd graders had their concert last week. They've been working, getting ready for their concert for over a month in music. So I'm really proud of what they did. They were wonderful last week. Very professional. They worked really hard. And their first song they want to share with you is called Yeehaw. It was the first song in our cowboy concert. Here we go, kids, ready?
I wake up before the dawn, grab my horse from my saddle just coming by. Sally's making rhubarb pie. Graham and Gramps are quite a pair. They don't move fast, but we don't care. Cousins Julian, Gil, and Joe, I just can't wait to go. Yee-haw, we're going to a hoedown. Round up your partners and your pals. It's gonna be a party showdown. It's a rough and tumble, hoot and nanny, make for all you guys and gals. Find a partner, everyone. Wear your sets and have some fun. Partners battle quarters too. Forward and back and that'll do.
Your partner, round you go.
Now it's time for do-si-do. Right hand start and give a smile. Now you're dancing Western style. Yee-haw, we're going to a hoedown. Round up your partners and your pals. It's gonna be a party showdown. It's a rough and tumble, hoot and nanny, make for all you guys and gals. Rough and tumble, hoot and nanny, make for all you guys and gals. Yeehaw!
Thank you so much. If they could, they wanted to sing our Forest View song. We do have a song we sing, just a little snippet of it from our school. There are schools, you ready?
There are schools across America, made of brick and wood or stone.
Each one
Has a special identity,
but there's
one that stands alone.
this one has
Has a special quality,
it's the place kids want to be. You'll find this school in Forest Lake, nestled back amongst the trees. Forest View, it is the place where I belong.
everybody here
Can help each other
along.
Forest View, it is the place I want to be.
Everybody here
Can
be the best they can be.
Anybody have any questions for anybody out there?
I have a comment. I just have one comment, it's yee-haw!
Excellent voices. We don't usually have this lively of meetings. So thank you for coming. You all knew the words. You had great voices, a lot of enthusiasm. So thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Can you come every
I
month?
also-
Yeah, we expect us, yeah,
I'd
every
also
month
like to
we
thank our policy committee that made this possible by relaxing our hat policy.
That's the Ranger hat.
Well, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Oh, so cute. Thanks to all the parents for bringing them.
It means a lot.
That was wonderful. Oh, can we go home now?
Let's have another class. Next on the agenda is positive happenings. Do we have any positive happenings? What high school?
Yes, so I went to our high school, did the Wonderful Veterans Program. Awesome tribute to everybody in the armed forces. The color guard is there, our band and orchestra, the FFA lead it, and it's just such a wonderful program. Also, the Leadership Conference for 2023 is coming up July 12th. And then I know I missed the Big Sing, so, but I heard from neighbors that were in it, and it was fabulous, so I'm not sure why I missed that. I don't think I knew. Next year, I'm getting that down. Last thing I wanted to mention is that I went to a gala, which was for, and we got this, all of us. So this is Sarah Lancaster. She's 31 years old. She's a 2022 Teacher of the Year. This was in here. But anyway, I got to personally meet her. I went to this Cultural Society of Filipino Americans, and she was the keynote speaker, and she is so inspiring. She's 31 years old. This is a huge honor for her as a Filipino American to be chosen for this. She started out in her district of Onenia when she was in high school, working in summer school and running copies, and then she knew she wanted to be a teacher. So she was just so inspiring, talking about everything that they had gone through during the pandemic and how now she's just really engaged with all of the students' needs and the families, and just a wonderful person. So if you still have this, you should look her up. So I did a selfie, and I have her. I brought this if you want to see it, but she was wonderful. So that concludes my positive happenings.
Anyone else?
I will be going to the Forest Lake girls hockey game versus Mounds View on Monday here in Forest Lake. Go Rangers.
I know Forest Lake basketball starts tomorrow night. I believe it's a home game for the Rangers boys. I don't know who's on the team yet, and I'm looking forward to going to some games. Just watch basketball.
Yeah, in person.
In person, that's right.
I went to the ever famous Turkey Bingo. Remember last year was also there.
I forgot about Turkey
So
Bingo.
I did not win, but some of those Turkey Bingos went fast. They were like lucky. And then I did go to the Big Sing, and this was the first time I actually did go. I didn't realize that we all got to sing. So it was a really fun program that the kids all sang and different levels were represented, and then they asked the audience there was some audience participation even. So it was a nice program altogether. And it was in the gym, which I wasn't expecting. So it was nice to have it in a different spot than just another auditorium performance. So that was very important.
I was just gonna say, I'm looking forward to some holiday music at the high school, and I'm sure it's coming up, usually it's Monday evenings.
The band concert is the 10th, Monday.
Okay, because normally they're, and I usually get a list, and I haven't seen anything.
Okay.
So I'd like to get a list. Or email of all those wonderful, I keep missing it because they're so great.
Band and orchestra, I think is the 10th.
The 10th, okay.
No, the 10th.
No, not the 10th, because that's the Saturday. It's the 12th. Is that Monday?
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Just have it on your phone.
For me, on positive happenings, I attended the Forest Lake High School's production of Newsies. My spouse and I took one of our grandsons with us, and we had a really fun time. It was a great time. I used to be in theater, so it was really fun going back and seeing a theatrical production in the high school. It was great. Of course, we had the election. We came over here and watched the election results here at the district office. I attended a TIFLA board meeting on November 15th and was actually nominated and elected to the chair of the organization due to a sudden resignation by the former chair of the board. And thank you. And I visited our 3-year-old grandson's preschool Grandparents' Day on November 21st. Unfortunately, he goes to Stillwater. I know I shouldn't say that, but he's over at Stillwater. But we attended that, and it just reminded me about how much fun it is to go to those types of events. That's positive happenings for me. Anything else from anybody?
Just wanted to add one more thing that I forgot. C is having their general membership meeting, and you can go in person or you can be virtual, but on the agenda includes Melissa Portman, the Speaker of the House, and a couple other legislators. So I'm going to be attending that. So if anyone else I want to see and hear from Melissa Portman some more.
Some leader teaching as well will be there.
Yes, and I can't from Mary Knush, Senator Mary Knush, Steve Wardency. Yeah. So that is December 2nd. No, register December 2nd.
No, it's tomorrow. Already registered. It's tomorrow.
Yeah, it is tomorrow at 10, and if you're virtual, you don't need to tomorrow. You don't need to register. Yep. So that's what I'm doing, just so we know.
That concludes positive happenings. We'll move on to workshops and conferences. Does anybody have anything for that? Well, I do. Let's see, I have been lately busy. I attended the AMSD and the Metro ECSU Reimagine Education Community Connections Culture Education Conference on November 10th from 8 to 3 in Minneapolis at the Marriott up in Brooklyn Park. They had a guest speaker who was Kevin Kling. And if you don't know Kevin Kling, he is a really funny guy. He has a disability, but he makes everything he can out of it. And it's just a really great guy to get to know if you haven't heard it. And his speech was outstanding. His topic was how humor and storytelling can build one's resilience, which of course fits after everything we've been through for the last couple of years. Dr. Charlene Michael Buss presented How Are the Kids? I attended a couple of breakout sessions, Nowhere to Go, hosted by Sue Aberholden, and Creating a Culture of Connection and Belonging for educators, students, and caregivers, which was given by Pete Morse and Pam Ryan. And 2 sessions in the afternoon. They showed a film, which I'd recommend if you can find it on YouTube or anywhere else. It's called Resilience / ACEs, Recovering from Trauma. And then shortly after the film, they had a group of students actually do a panel discussion on the movie, as well as one of the people who was instrumental in getting the film put together. So it was a really good moving film. Let's see, on Tuesday, November 29th, I attended the Standard Response Protocol Train the Trainer workshop presented by the I Love You Guys Foundation, which was sponsored by Northeast Metro 916 and the Ramsey County Emergency Management and Homeland Security. Carly Posey, who was a keynote speaker, she had 2 elementary school children who attended Sandy Hook Elementary in 2012, and they both experienced the shooting in school. The good news is they both lived, but they're traumatized probably for the rest of their lives from what happened at school. Stacy Avila was the workshop trainer, and Stacy was a police officer and a hostage negotiator who participated in the Platte Canyon hostage crisis in Bailey, Colorado in 2006, where 7 female students were taken hostage and 5 were released, 2 were held, and 1 was killed at the end of that. What it did, I guess I have to just add an editorial comment. What it said to me was, I guess, what we got out of it was you should always expect the unexpected. Ironically, very briefly for Carly Posey, they were moving to Colorado the next day from Sandy Hook. Literally the next morning, and her children got stuck in this hostage crisis. What happened there? So anyway, we should always expect the unexpected. The training session itself, I'll leave you with that, is really a great training session. I know we've been through it.
We've been through it and we've adopted those protocols from us.
I feel very valued in having done that, because now I feel like I can contribute at one point or another. Hopefully you never have to, but if anything, I feel like I could. And last of all, I'll be attending the MSBA Delegate Assembly starting tomorrow and Saturday, representing District 6 and Area 15. And that concludes my report. Any other workshops or conferences before? 916, member Kettle. Oh, that's me. 916. Keep going. 916, it'll actually be my last board meeting since I'm leaving this board. As you probably know, you have to be a member of a participating district to participate in Northeast Metro. And since I'm leaving, my last board meeting will be next Wednesday. They always meet on the first Wednesday of the month, and I run in usually before us because we meet on the first Thursday. This month it just so happens I'll be at their meeting next month. So I have nothing to report on Northeast Metro at this point. And that concludes Mr. Ketto's report. Buildings and grounds, Mr. Ketto, in the absence of Mr. Peterson. I can't report on it. I did not attend due to personal issues that came up. I could not attend the meeting. However, I did get the agenda, and I thought I'd just review the agenda with you just so you know. They talked about a preliminary property tax levy for 2023, a 10-year planning review. They talked a little bit about the telescope project at the high school, which we all know, we inherited somehow that telescope as being it's going to be installed at the high school eventually. And then they, of course, went through maintenance items as usual. So that was a report on that. And that concludes the report on buildings and grounds. City of Forest Lake, member Luthner.
Thank you. Okay.
So the City of Forest Lake is having their Truth in Taxation later this week on December 7th. So if you want to go learn about your property taxes, if you live in Forest Lake, that's what they'll be doing. And then their hometown holiday is this coming weekend. So that's the big festival that's been on most of the social media and things, and it's a great event. So I encourage anybody who's in town to go check that out, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Communications Committee.
Yeah.
Very good.
So for our communications meeting, we talked a little bit, we kind of had some questions from the previous meeting with the website, wrapped those up, and we talked about district email communications. It's really kind of a big deal for parents, you know, trying to get the right amount of email to parents and so that they're not overwhelmed by them, but that we are able to get out the critical information. And then we talked about community and email communications as well.
Thank you. Community education, I guess I could take that one just because we know there were no meetings in November, December. The next meeting of community is scheduled for January 16th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Curriculum, Instruction, and Equity Committee. Member
Yes,
Rich?
we had a fabulous presentation of the world's best workforce and achievement and integration report. It was a wonderful slideshow, and I can share this with all board members if they would like. But I just wanted to share like two of the goals that we have for Forest Lake. So for career and college readiness, our 21-22 goal was the number of students taking a CTE, Career Technical Education course at the high school level will increase from 86% to 88%. The result, the percent of students who took a CTE course was 88.3%. So that one was met. Another goal, increase the number of fifth grade students trained in culturally responsive student leadership skills from 43% in 2020 to 100% in 2023. And the result, in 2021-2022, 98% of fifth grade students participated in the culturally responsive student leadership skills. And there's a lot more information. I could be happy to share the slideshow with everybody. That concludes my report.
Can I just add one thing?
Yes.
With the Achievement Integration Report, we had Lloyd Komatsu, our assessment coordinator there, and he is a huge asset to our district because the goals that we submit are based on the data, and to have his expertise in that area and dial down on all the granular detail and give us a good look. I mean, it's very valuable to have an assessment coordinator with his skill level. So I just want to add that. Excellent.
Equity in our schools, Member Raphael.
Earlier this week, Forest Lake Area Schools submitted its American Indian Education Aid budget proposal for approval with MDE, along with the federal Title 6 budget. The Forest Lake Area Schools American Indian Education Parent Advisory Committee works with teaching and learning to provide culturally relevant and equitable educational opportunities for American Indian students. These funds have been used to provide professional development for licensed staff, host family fun nights, providing an opportunity for Native community to come together and to celebrate cultural activities in the community, and to after-school groups and academic support. Forest Lake Area Schools AIEPAC monitors the district's compliance with its commitment to visibility and integration of Native students in the curriculum and schools with an annual compliance vote in the spring. In May, the parent committee will have its annual public hearing as part of the school board meeting, providing more detailed information. And thanks, Brad Ward, our equity administrator, for that report.
Thank you. Finance Committee.
Yep, I gave those. There was 8 present. We had a first item on the agenda was the audit status. We are in the final stages, and this has been in process since June, and it's gone off to the MDE to review, and we should see the finals next meeting, so 12/15. And they analyze every area for our budget versus actual, and it's a really interesting thing as long as you like budgets. We looked at the budget with the gap in inflation and special ed, were the two major areas that need sort of pencil sharpening on our budget this year. Truth and taxation, I got a preview of the report that we all saw already, so nothing extra on that. And the legislative update was, because this was post-election, it did discuss that the parties that were elected do have education as a top priority. So a very hopeful outlook for funding in the future. And then we did a brief review of some of the grants that we've been awarded from their different people who have submitted them and been awarded over time. So part of that 1%, but we worked really hard for that little tiny 1%. So that concludes my report.
Policy Committee, Member Lester.
Yes, we reviewed and discussed 7 policies listed under new business, and we had a new student member join us, so that was exciting. Thanks.
Terrific, thank you. Student Welfare, or Staff Welfare Committee.
I'll take that. We talked about enrollment every year. I mean, enrollment is critical for our schools because we try to understand it ahead of time so we can make staffing decisions, and it makes a difference financially for the amount of money coming in. And so we were looking at our estimates of what we were going to have and what we ended up having, and they're very close this year. So we're happy about that because it means that our amount we're spending is matches up with what we're actually getting in. We had a transportation update. Of course, we've been having problems trying to keep up with staffing like every other district, and we've been doing well with that. And Superintendent Massey is going to talk about that in his report, and we have had a legislative update. We had a big election, and we discussed how that's going to affect, you know, not only the money coming into the schools, maybe, but also, you know, legislatively what we want to lobby for.
Thank you. Superintendent Massey. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I get into several items, a big shout out to Mr. Ernest and Ms. Hogan. First of all, Mr. Ernest, you can see, is building an amazing culture at Forest View. He's an ever-present leader, and he engages with kids, connects with kids and families in just a really dynamic way. That's evident. And to hire the talent around music just illustrates the power of the arts. As kids are also, you know, really focused in on the core academics, the arts are really a critical component. And yeah, there you go. And then also recognizing the leadership that Jenny O'Donnell and her colleague, Charles Hunter, provide for the group of students that were here today, giving those kids a place to gather, be inspired to read, and be involved in so many things as they illustrated here tonight. So some really dynamic things happening there. Quick update on transportation. The last number of months, I've been providing updates there. I'm happy to share that the last 2 weeks running, we have not canceled a single bus route. So we are on a really good trajectory with our transportation. We're there with a number of things coming together. Additional drivers that have returned to the bus driver crew, if you will, from back from surgery or leaves or leaving other jobs to come back. We've also trained and now have 3 additional drivers that are new to our fleet that are sitting behind the wheel and driving kids every day. We have taken a really fine look, deep detailed look at our different routes, and through some creative work have eliminated 5 routes in the last number of weeks. So those things combined have allowed us to operate all of our buses every single day. It's still tight. The job market is tight. If we get a flu outbreak, we're going to be in trouble. But we don't have a lot of subs, so I'll call out for anybody who wants to drive or be a sub driver. We'd love to train you up and get you into our operation. We continue to examine what we're doing, and we're we're working with CISO, an outside consulting logistics company, to help us take an outside look at what we're doing, with the hope that there are other things, and quite honestly, there are a number of things that we're still looking at that might help us be even more efficient and deliver on our commitment to drive kids to and from school. So just a huge development and trajectory there with transportation. Let me pause and see if there's any board questions on that topic.
How long does the contract with CISO run?
We're expecting a full report here in the next several weeks.
Okay,
So
that concludes their work?
that's correct. And they'll give us a report, and we meet with them every week for updates and discussion. So it's a partnership in this work. It's not just an outside analysis, but a real partnership in that work.
Terrific, thank you.
So to clarify, so 4 weeks, we get the final report for 1 week.
Yeah, we think 3 to 4 weeks, we'll get that. They're looking at a whole nother component that we discussed today, and along with John and his team. Yeah, thanks.
So we working with them, is that they help with the elimination of the routes then?
No, those eliminations, quite frankly, are John Gray and Donna Clark, our routing specialist. As we've looked at a couple of different variables and parameters and loosening up some things and giving them more opportunities to combine and eliminate routes through some creative rerouting concepts that they've been able to put in place.
So can I ask what are they gonna, what will their report look like? I mean, what are they trying to do, eliminate more routes or just look at our whole transportation system?
They're looking at the whole operation. Quite honestly, their early indication is, for instance, if we were to change school start times by 20 minutes, I don't think that's a good idea. Or we could change start times by half an hour and provide more time in between routes. We could cut even more routes. As they looked at what we're doing, their initial report was, this is about as efficient of a system as we've ever seen. That's their first conclusion. Now, if we change variables, like I discussed, we can do even more. It's a matter of our willingness, tolerance, acceptance in this community to do those kind of things. So obviously we need to get kids to school in a timely fashion. If we were willing to tolerate a 2-hour bus ride, which would be insane, we could eliminate a lot of bus routes. So there are ways to reduce bus routes, but are they good for the system, good for our families, good for our kids? That's all the part of the weighing and part of the variables that we need to consider. It was interesting through the analysis. We drive 5,500 miles a day. That's Anchorage, that's Key West to Anchorage.
Oh.
Every day. That's what our buses do. Because we're 220 some square miles. So it's a big district, complex.
Oh, regarding, like you said, we added 3 drivers and then people did come back. So do we have, are we fully capacity, do we have extra drivers right now at all? Like it's something or not?
There are a few that are subbing and it's a matter of their availability.
Okay.
But again, if we get a flu outbreak, we don't have the sub bench isn't that deep, so.
Okay, well that's good to know.
Yeah, always looking for drivers.
Okay, thank you.
It's a little bit of a left turn, but any updates on camera update, the cameras on the buses?
Yeah, good, thank you for that. The grant money's been received. We have been waiting on the delivery of additional buses that are, maybe Director Renberg, do you have a specific update on that?
Yeah, they'll be here next to the 12th, the week of December 12th, installing the cameras. So we do have 4 buses that we're still waiting on delivery. They're down in Topeka, Kansas. And so those will have to wait and install internally, but we'll be able to do that. So the rest of them will be installed the week of the 12th.
Yeah, perfect, great, yeah, great question.
one more thing. And thank you to John Gray and his assistant. I mean, we have a very complex routes. We are here, there, and everywhere around the lakes, and I mean, that's just a huge undertaking to cut routes and to really examine that, so thank you to them.
Next, I'd like to just recognize the work going on throughout our elementary schools with new curriculum adoption. As you know, we did the most significant curriculum adoption we have done in the history of our district with respect to English language arts curriculum. That comes with a great deal of training, preparation, becoming familiar with, and our staff deserve a ton of credit. It is, staff are working almost every single night to become familiar with tomorrow. Weekends, it's a big stretch. So just a huge shout out to our elementary staff. It goes without mention that educators across the district and the work that they put in every day to get ready for kids deserves recognition. So I wanted to give you that quick update. And as was mentioned by Member Corcoran, fall sports are underway and winter concerts are being scheduled. So it's a really busy and exciting time. Our gyms and our pools and gymnastics, auditorium are very big, very busy places full of exciting things. So, and that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda, do I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion, questions, comments? No. We will take a voice vote on this one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. It carries, so we approve the consent agenda. Next, we move to action items. First on the list is donations. Member Kettle. I've done the donations for so long, I just said I'll keep this tonight. So, being one of the last guys, I'll say this. Gifts to the district. We had a total of $15,659.09. $15,659.09. $11,426.78 was donated by the Blue Line Club for boys hockey. $3,000 was donated by the Lindell Charitable Trust for FLAMS setting 2/3 DCPA ASD program, purchasing a board for one of the rooms. $635.51 was contributed by the Senior Care Solutions Theater Department. $546.50 was contributed again by the Blue Line Club for another coach bus trip for Forest Lake boys hockey. $50 was contributed by Charities Aid Foundation for Lino Lakes Elementary STEM School for general use, and another $30 was donated by Target Corporation's cyber grants, again to Lino Lakes Elementary STEM School for general use. So the total again was $15,659.09. We would entertain a motion and a second to accept that on behalf of the district.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
What was the, what was the Lindell purchase again?
The Lindell was $3,000 for a purchase of a Mimeo board for one of the rooms in the school.
Wow, nice.
Nice. So generous.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call on this?
No, let's voice.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Carries, motion carries. Next on the agenda, the Forest Lake Area Schools retirement notice.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Just want to recognize the two that are retiring. Julie Anderson as the administrative assistant at Forest Lake Area Middle School. Julie's been like one of the amazing flexible that's worked in different buildings throughout her career in our district. And thank you to her for all that flexibility and hard work. And Susan Davis, a SAC program aide in new duty at the Forest View Elementary School. 15 years of service. And those positions and people that hold those are like gold, so we will miss her, I'm sure. And thank you to both of them, and I hope they enjoy their retirement.
Any other comments, questions? Okay. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, I've known Julie a long time, and she is just an amazing person. I will just wish her the best in her retirement. And Susan actually was my next door neighbor for many years. Scott and Susan Davis, great, wonderful people, just the most giving, caring person you could ever meet. So I wish her just the best in her retirement. And yeah, she deserves it. She's worked really hard for the years in the district, so I really appreciate her. So I always thanked her for working and putting those hours in every summer, working summer school, doing everything she could for those kids. So I just wish her the best.
Thank you.
I would just like to, 23 years at the middle school, that's such important work. It's such an important time in kids' life, and seeing that stability and that what happens at that office there, it's really important work. And so I just want to say thank you for 23 years.
Anything else? I just want to add that this is hard for me all the time because it feels like we should have a no vote on this and not let them. It's always tough to vote yes on this. Anyway, with that, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next, certify the 2022 property tax payable in 2023. I'll turn it over to Director Linda.
Back again.
Back again.
Exactly. So annually, the school board determines the property tax levy. The school board approved the proposed property tax levy back in September, and the Department of Education finalized all the numbers and the data, and the Truth in Taxation hearing happened previous to this meeting. All of the residents and property owners got their property tax statements, so they had the opportunity to review those, come to the meeting, learn more about them, and also present any public comments that they had on the proposed levy. Tonight, what we're asking is that you approve the 2022 payable 23 property tax levy in the amount of $31,441,391.55.
Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have further discussion or questions? With that, we'll go to a roll call vote.
All right, Member Landstrom.
Aye.
Member Rayfield.
Aye.
Member Tyson votes aye. Member Peterson is absent. Member Luthner. Aye. Member Corcoran. Aye. And Member Kettle.
Aye.
All right.
Motion carries. Fourth on our agenda of action items, resolution establishing a combined polling places for multiple precincts and designated hours. Superintendent Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From the 2017 legislative session, a law was passed requiring school districts to approve a resolution annually for combined polling places. The resolution must be approved by December 31st of each year for the following year. This doesn't indicate that there is any school district election, which has not been determined at this point, but should there be a school district election, those polling places, precinct locations, those combined precincts are listed in your packet, and administration would recommend your approval.
With that, do I have a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? That will take a roll call vote.
All right, Member Rayfield.
Aye.
Member Tyson votes aye. Member Peterson is absent. Member Luthner. Aye. Member Corcoran. Aye. Member Kettle.
Aye.
And Member Landstrom. Aye. All ayes.
Motion carries. Fifth on the agenda, recommendation to approve a new high school advanced placement course, AP Pre-Calculus.
Members of the board, Dr. Massey, I'm glad to be here tonight to ask for a second reading on two new courses. The first being an advanced placement AP course, pre-calculus. This is a 1.5 credit pre-calculus class that we would be pulling into advanced placements. Advanced placement, as you know, is a very rigorous scripted course that school districts like ours can utilize to offer very hard, challenging courses for students at the high school, that if they take this course, they can not, and pass the AP exam, they can not only earn a graduation credit for here in Forest Lake, but also credit toward college. And so this would be, I believe, our 16th, and then the second one here, our 17th AP courses that we would be offering as a school district. We offer essentially more opportunities for earning college credit with us here in Forest Lake, which is a huge benefit to our students. And this would be an example of us being able to advance this. And so our request tonight is for this course to be approved as a new AP course that would go into our registration guide for this January.
Do I have a motion and a second?
Move to approve 8.5.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments?
One. You want to go around?
Yeah, sure.
Round
I just wanted to just kind of point out how important these AP courses are for our students. What a really important thing it is that our students are able to take that. I know my daughter took a number of them, and it saved us a lot of money, right? When she went to college, she was able to test out of and a bunch of classes and it really bumped her ahead, and it just made a big difference for her. And I'm just really thankful that we're able to offer this for our students. It's really a feather in our cap because it's such an important thing for our students. And I don't know, I'm being a little tongue-tied in saying it, but this is really something important for our students. I'm really proud that we're able to offer it, and it's really something that Forest Lake can be proud of, that we're able to give our kids, because it makes a big difference from them when they get their graduation, their diploma.
Well, I definitely concur with Member Rayfield on all of that. And this really fits well with the district's mathematics pathway. And I think that we've always been really strong in accelerating students that are high in math and, allowing that to grow. So one question I'm curious about is, how do we determine the instruction and who will teach that?
Yeah, so once this course is approved by the board, Principal Caldwell will work with his math department to determine who would like to teach this course. You have to have a certain mathematics degree and master's degree in order to teach a course like this. And so we have math teachers at the high school that have such credentials. And so he'll work with that team. Most likely it'll be one of the teachers that helped author this course proposal, but that isn't a certainty, but he would work with them. And I think it also gives credit to our math department, that we've got talented math educators as part of that department. Just think about the students, the math-related students that have to be able to take a course like this. It's a very challenging course. And to be able to teach it is also super challenging. And not every district would have a teacher that would be able to take on this sort of a rigorous course.
Exactly, and I think our district does have an exceptional math department with teachers. We have many, many master's degree teachers in our district, so.
And I would point out that our AP Calculus pass rate is among the highest in the state. AP Calculus 2 core is some of the highest in the state, if not nation.
That's excellent, that's better in our path. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Jump in there.
And so I concur with everything that's been said so far, math being a great pathway, and this being, I took a lot of AP classes and I skipped a year of college because I had enough going in. But I appreciate, so one other nuance to bring up, I appreciate that we're spending our time and energy on AP classes instead of just a finite gifted and talented program, because while one sounds really great and is a magnet to some families, but AP classes, you could take one or you could take 12. Or I'm not positive you could take 12, but you could take as many as you possibly can take, or you could take just one. And it's not that you must be in a program. And I know that we've got staff that are dedicated to developing students and letting them know you should take this class. try to take this class. And so we're encouraging a lot of students to take that first step, that baby step towards college or a technical school, or just a class they're really going to enjoy. And I think that that's money well spent, that we hit more children and give them more experiences to a deeper level than if we had a cadre of 30 that we were very, very focused on just their talents. So I appreciate that the direction you're taking this all together and that administration supports that.
Well, I just had a question, like how, I know when these AP opportunities come up, like how is it decided, like kind of look at like what's being offered and like look for areas that could be added on to, or how, and I'm just curious how that whole
Yeah,
process
that
works.
happens a number of ways.
Okay.
That happens sometimes when teachers come down and reach out to administration and say, I've got an idea for a course, or I think that we can bolster our course catalog through a new offering. It happens that way. We'll also, as an administrative team, are scanning our course catalog and leveraging people in industry, data around the future of jobs to scan and see, do we have any gaps in which we're not offering something for Forest Lake students and their families that we should be. So it really does happen a couple of different ways that we do that. The other thing that I would say to the comments made earlier is this is a great class or course where students can learn really high-end math concepts. And then we also offer, as was mentioned earlier, CTE courses in engineering, manufacturing, technology, and business that creates the lab space for students to apply what they're learning in pre-calculus and calculus 1 and calculus 2. So it really is, it's a school district of our size, having gone through the curricular visioning that we have, we've been able to offer things that are really impressive, I think.
It just gives the confidence to kids that actually take these courses forward. Then they know, I mean, they can kind of get a feel for what college is going to be about. You know, it just gets them more prepared and more successful. So yeah, thank you for all this other great work. Thank you.
Any other comments and questions from the board? With that, I will roll call.
All right, Member Tyson votes aye, Member Peterson is absent, Member Luther.
Aye.
Member Corcoran.
Aye.
Member Kettle.
Aye.
Member Landstrom.
Aye.
And Member Wakefield.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Action item 8.6, recommendation to approve a new high school advanced placement course, AP seminar. Director Jacobson.
Yeah, thank you. This is the second course that we talked about at our last meeting on November 3rd that generated quite a bit of discussion at that meeting, if you can recall. I don't know that a student could take all of our AP courses in their schedule either, but this is for putting this particular course, AP seminar, is the first course in a 2-course series, the second being AP research, not a course that we're bringing forth tonight, but most likely we'll be bringing forth in the future. Those 2 courses are really built around a multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary approach to research, discourse, debate, teamwork, these sorts of things. Putting somebody students in a position that if they take and pass the AP courses in both of those, as well as 4 other AP courses of interest that we offer in Forest Lake, that they could graduate our school district with an AP capstone diploma.
Wow.
Again, an opportunity not offered widely in other school districts, but we are able to offer here 3 years of work in AP. And so our request tonight would be for approval on AP seminar. If approved, this course would go into the registration guide here in this January, and we would look to have students showing interest in that for the fall.
Do I have a motion and a second?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments?
My comment would just be that I think Forest Lake area schools, when we have offerings like this, it shows that we're in many ways the best choice. We're not like, yeah, if you can't get into these other places, or you're just going to take the standard offering school. We're in many ways the best choice for students and in terms of offerings. And so I'm just so proud when I see things like this that our kids are able to take. And it's something that can move a student, the right student beyond. And so I just want to say thank you. One small comment, we did earlier hear from the superintendent about the new curriculum stuff. I also wanted to add a thank you for your work in that too as well. Yeah, I was glad to see you're awake after all that stuff.
I will just reiterate though, what Superintendent Massey has said is that the major part of the burdening of that curriculum is being done by the teachers in our classroom. And I just think that's important that we know that they are in the thick of it right now.
Oh, yeah.
And getting, and working very long hours, weekends, in order to make sure that that implementation goes well. And they're gonna get there, they're doing a great job.
Very true.
I just wanted to add, we're all about creating opportunities in our district, and we really are a premier school district when we offer all this AT, AP, and CTE courses and everything else. I mean, your staff works hard, our teachers are amazing, our district has just been a visionary in all of this work, and our strategic plan drives us. And with this course, I just think I'm just so intrigued with it, and I think anytime you can analyze kind of divergent perspectives, that's just a huge growth area for students. So thank you again, concurring with everybody. Appreciate all your hard work and the hard work of our district.
And I have one question, just a little more on, I'm really interested in this capstone degree. What does that, short of being a nice sounding degree, what does it get you?
I think what it would really do is it's a feather in a graduate's hat that they can use when applying to universities and applying for college loans and grants. If you review their website, there isn't a percentage of the graduates in the United States that earn that, but it's got to be a very slim percentage of students.
So it's a federal, in essence, it's recognized federally.
Yep, this is not just a Forest Lake or Minnesota opportunity, it's nationwide. Yep.
Nice job. All that. Do we have any other questions or comments? The federal name, of course.
Roll call. All right, Member Peterson is absent. Member Luther? Aye. Member Corcoran? Aye. Member Kettle?
Aye.
Member Landstrom? Aye. Member Rayfield?
Aye.
And Member Tyson votes aye. All ayes.
Thank you again. Congratulations. New business, first reading of out-of-state travel by school board members, policy 103B. I will turn it over to Superintendent Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. All these 7 policies are first reading, so no action tonight required on any of these. So presenting them to the board for question or comment tonight, and then further study or comment during the next month, and we'll ask for your approval in January. The purpose of this policy is to control out-of-state travel by school board members as required by law. Policy Committee has reviewed this policy, and they are not recommending any changes at this time.
Second, first reading of employee alcohol and other drug use policy 422.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This policy is one that has gotten probably the most attention from our policy committee as of late. The emphasis or the relevance of this particular policy is the new legislation allowing consumable CBD and cannabis that has been approved in the state. And through recommendations from Minnesota School Boards Association or research, we felt that this particular policy needed to be modified and updated to include language addressing THC and CBD that is now legal in the state of Minnesota through edible products. So you'll see language, quite a bit of new language with respect to that new item in the state. So I would ask that you study this and read it closely. The fact, here's, I think, an important point to be thinking about as you study this policy. There are CBD products or cannabis products that do not contain the THC. But being able to differentiate between a consumable, edible CBD product and those that have the THC component or product in it, and those that don't, is very difficult. They're not well regulated, they're not well marked, and products that kids may consume or staff may consume are, again, not well documented and regulated. So we feel we need to have a policy that regulates CBD consumption and possession in our district. This policy does. So I would ask you to close read on this, and we can have further conversation next month.
Third, first reading of harassment and violence policy 425.
The purpose of this policy is to maintain a learning and working environment that is free from harassment and violence on the basis of race, color, creed, religion, national origin, sex, age, marital status, familial status, status with regard to public assistance, sexual orientation, including gender identity or expression, or disability. This policy requires an annual review. The policy committee has done that and is recommending this policy to move forward with no changes.
Next, fourth, the first reading of drug-free workplace, drug-free school policy 435.
The purpose of this policy is to maintain a safe and healthy environment for employees and students by prohibiting the use of alcohol, toxic substances, medical cannabis, non-intoxicating cannabis, and controlled substances without a physician's prescription. Similar to the previous policy, updated language with respect to possession or consumption of cannabis, non-intoxicating cannabis products, controlled substances before, during, or after school hours. And you'll see language with respect to those items in this policy.
Number 5, first reading of student medication policy 528.
The purpose of this policy is to set forth the provisions that must be followed when school district staff members administer non-emergency and emergency prescription medication to students in school. The policy does not address medications administered or directed to be administered by responding emergency personnel. For the purposes of this policy, prescription, medication, or prescribed drugs or medication refers to any medication whether a prescription is required to purchase it or not. Medication that may be purchased without a prescription is still subject to the terms of this policy and district procedures and may not be carried nor dispensed to students except as expressly addressed in this policy. There are several updates that are recommended in this policy update after the review of the policy committee, most specifically in reference to EpiPens that might be administered to a student with an allergic reaction. Again, you can see those changes in this policy.
First reading, number 6, first reading of student transportation safety policy 531.
The purpose of this policy is to provide a safe transportation system for students and to educate students on safety issues and the responsibility of school bus ridership. First part of this policy speaks to student transportation, student guidelines and requirements for conduct on buses. The latter part of the policy gets into bus driver training and requirements and credentialing. And you'll see quite a bit of added language with respect to bus driver requirements. Again, all recommended changes and modifications to this policy by the Minnesota School Boards Association.
Thank you. Number 7, first reading of graduation requirements policy 613. I'm going to turn it over to Director Jacobson.
Thank you. The purpose of this policy is set forth the requirements for graduation for the school district. Some changes to this policy that I would draw your attention to is some language around our test administration. As mentioned earlier tonight, we have a fantastic data and testing administrator, Dr. Lloyd Komatsu, and that he serves as a designee in that role. We have updated some of the course credit information around the middle school redesign, making note of some of the changes there, as you can see, including the gateway courses combined with electives. The second box that you'll see in that section, under section A, is the new credit structure for the 7th and 8th grade. Folded into that is a change in the number of credits required for graduation in Forest Lake for science. Certainly not we're not reducing the number of courses that we offer in science, but we're reducing the number by a half credit that are needed to graduate in Forest Lake to match what the state requirements are. And we're doing that in an effort to give students more choice around the courses that they can take while they're with us. Some of those courses that they choose to take might be science electives or any of the other number of electives that you've heard us talk about at this meeting over the past couple of years, perhaps even being the AP seminar, AP research course that we talked about a moment ago. And then lastly, I would just draw your attention to some language really just clarifying that at our 7th and 8th grade level, we offer courses there that are high school courses that students can take and earn high school credit for, even within the 7th and 8th grade. Examples of that might be double accelerated math courses, oral language courses, our immersion Spanish courses would be captured by that as well. And this would be a first reading.
Thank you, Director Jacobson. That concludes new business for the evening as far as I can see. With that, I would ask everybody to just review upcoming calendar dates, and we'll look for those dates.
We're coming.
Okay, good. I'll have those coming. With that, this time I'll actually ask for a motion in a second to adjourn. I won't just do it. No, so not going to. Do I have a motion in a second? So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Leave the room. Aye. Okay, no, I'll all say aye. Thank you.